Hello and welcome. Today's video is all about new and upcoming makeup releases that have caught my eye. So I'm just going to be talking about the items that have already come out recently or that are coming out soon that have interested me in one way or another. I'll just be sharing my thoughts on them and whether I'm planning on picking them up or not. So if you'd like to see that, just keep on watching. The first thing I wanted to mention is actually a sale. The Beautylish Spring gift card event is coming up soon. I'll write it on the screen, the right date, but it's coming up very soon. And I've also gotten a couple of emails from Beautylish that the Hindash Monochromance palette is coming to Beautylish as well. So that's great if you were someone who was interested in that Monochromance palette. I'm not sure if the whole collection is coming or not, but definitely the palette at least, which is really the star of the collection in my opinion, that is coming to Beautylish soon as well. So I'm guessing that the timelines of the palette coming to Beautylish and the spring savings event will coincide in some way. So that's great news. If you've been waiting to get that palette, hoping it would come to Beautylish, you'll probably be able to get it with that gift card deal as well. The way it works with the gift card event at Beautylish, I think if you spend $100 US, you get a $20 gift card for your next purchase basically. So it's kind of like a 20% discount, although you don't get the discount right in your initial purchase, but you do get it down the road. Okay, moving on, I've kind of broken things into categories of makeup. So there are a number of blushes that are coming out, particularly cream blushes. So I wanted to talk about those first. The first is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer blushes. These are described as a weightless cream blush that delivers buildable natural cheek color with the skincare power of a moisturizer. And I think there are 9 shades coming out. Personally, I'm not planning on getting any of these at this point anyway. Maybe if I see some reviews that people are really raving about them and they're really something special, then I might consider picking up a shade to try it out. But as it stands now, I just have so many blushes. I have a lot of makeup that I'm trying to work through, and these aren't really standing out enough to me to want to try this at this point. Although I have to say I do like the look of the colors. It looks like a lot of sort of more muted earthy tones in a range of shades from light to deep. So I do like the look of the tones. I'll be keeping an eye on reviews, but right now not planning on getting any of those. Next up is the LYS Cream Blushes. So I thought that this was a fully new range, but I'm looking at them on the Sephora site right now, and it looks like actually there are just 3 new shades that have been added to this range. Again, this is something I'm not planning on picking up for the same reason that I'm not getting the Laura Mercier. They look nice, but it's just not something that I feel excited about enough to add into my collection at this point. Huda Beauty is also coming out with cream blushes. These are in stick form, so they're these little cream blush sticks. There are 5 shades of them. They're called the Cheeky Tint Cream Blush Stick. And again, not really planning on getting any of these. There's one shade that has caught my eye. It's called Proud Pink. It's like a baby kind of bubblegum, really cool toned pink that looks interesting to me. I don't have a lot of blushes in that tone. I don't have any cream blushes like that. So that's the one that I would get if I were going to get these. Kind of keeping this in the back of my mind potentially to pick up during the Sephora sale, which is another spring sale that's coming up. I think it starts April 1st for Rouge members and then a little bit later along the tier system. This color really does appeal to me, and from the look of the pictures on the Sephora site anyway, it looks like it almost has an iridescence to it. So it kind of has like a shimmery, almost like a blue flip to it, which I think would complement that bubblegum cool toned pink really nicely. I think the last blush item I have on my list is the 2 new shades of the Wayne Goss Blush Highlight Duos. This again is an existing product in Wayne Goss's line where he has the big pan of blush and then there's a big pan of highlighter right next to it. I haven't tried any of these, and as it stands now, I'm not planning on getting either of these new duos. If I were to pick any of the Wayne Goss blushes up, it would be one of these 2 new shades. They look to be quite similar to each other, and they're kind of paler, a little bit lighter, more muted, and kind of nude, peachy, pinky type of colors, which is really the type of blush that I go for on an everyday basis, and the only kind of color of blush that I think I would want in pans that are as big as those ones in the Wayne Goss duos. For now, again, I'm not planning to pick either of those up. I do like the look of them. I'm a little bit hesitant about the highlighters. I haven't been too much into powder highlighters lately, and when I want to wear powder highlighter, I can just go to my existing collection. I have a lot to work with anyway, so I don't really see the use for myself in adding in a huge pan of new powder highlighter to my collection, and I also just don't really need the blush, although I would be curious to try the formula. It's not something that's at the top of my list right now. Now moving into lips, there are a number of new lip products that have also come out recently or are coming out soon. The first I wanted to mention is from Auric Beauty. This released late last week, and it's called the Plush Ritual Lip Balm, I think is the name of it. It's described as a very moisturizing lip balm. It has some special ingredients in it, some ceramides and some sort, I think, white lupin seed extract or something. Anyway, it looks very nice and it sounds very promising. I always love a lip balm, and I'm actually almost out of my By Terry Balm de Rose, so I decided that this balm would hopefully be my replacement for that. So I have ordered that, and I've actually ordered 2 of them, so when it eventually arrives to me and I do a video on it, I'm going to be doing a little giveaway in that video as well, so keep an eye out for that. I'll be doing a giveaway of that lip balm. It looks beautifully presented. It's in the same type of packaging as their little cream and powder eyeshadow duos, except that in the top compartment there's no shadow there, but there's a little jade spatula which you're meant to use to apply the lip balm so you don't have to stick your finger into the pot of lip balm. And the bottom part of the component, which actually holds the lip balm, is glass. So it looks like a really nice presentation, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that the product will be very lovely as well. Victoria Beckham Beauty has come out with 4 new shades of their lip gloss. So they originally only had a clear shade, which I love. They brought out 4 new shades, which are all kind of nude type shades, just in a range of depths. I've already done a video on these glosses. I got 2 of the new shades. I already had the clear one. All of those are featured in my video on the glosses, so I will link that below in case you haven't seen that yet and are interested. Next up, Dries van Noten, who is a Belgian designer, I believe, has come out with a line of lipsticks. These look very interesting, and I want to thank Inga, one of my viewers, for letting me know about this release. Basically, there are a number of finishes of the lipsticks. I think 3 finishes, a matte, a satin, and a more sheer type finish, and 4 different lipstick cases that you can choose from. So you can choose your lipstick shade and finish, and then you can choose which case you want it to go in. And the cases look very beautiful. The shades look beautiful as well. I did go through on the designer's website and look at the shades and kind of figured out which couple of shades I would be interested in getting. Don't think these are readily available in Canada yet, so I haven't ordered or made any specific plans to order these yet. The brand's website doesn't ship to Canada, and I honestly haven't looked into other retailers, although I think I read in an article that they were just coming to the brand's website first, and then in April or May they're coming to other retailers. So I'm not sure if that is still the case. I have to look into it further, but I would be interested in trying out at least one of those lipsticks at some point. Rose Inc is also coming out with refillable lipsticks. They're called the Satin Lipcolour Refillable Hydrating Lipstick. These are interesting to me. I would like to try out one shade. There's a shade called Demure, which is described as a cool blush, which I'm interested in. Also interested in the shade Besotted, which is described as a beige pink. So I would consider trying one or both of those shades. Again, I would probably just wait for the Sephora sale before I buy them. Since it's coming up so soon, I don't see any need to buy them at full price, but I am very curious about the formula. Now, these do have hyaluronic acid in them, which I would think all of Rose Inc.'s makeup products have hyaluronic acid in them, which is why I can't use them anymore. But I'm not too concerned about hyaluronic acid in lipsticks or lip products. That doesn't seem to be much of an issue for me, so I would still consider trying this formula. Merit has also come out with what seems like a kind of similar type of formula of lipstick. They're called the lightweight lipstick. I have ordered one of these. I sometimes get PR from Merit, but they haven't contacted me about these at all, so I just ordered one shade because I am curious about the formula. I've seen some positive reviews of those lipsticks, and I'm curious to try them as well. So the shade I ordered is Baby, which is described as a neutral pink. I thought this would be just a really nice everyday type of shade for me to try out. So that's on its way to me, and I'll be sure to show it and review it on my channel at some point soon. Okay, the next category is eyes, and there are a few new eye palettes that have come out. The Natasha Denona Pastel Palette is the first one on my list. This is another thing. I've already actually reviewed this palette, so I'll link that video below in case you're interested in seeing my full thoughts on it. And I demo how I did 4 different looks with the palette in that video as well. Next up, this is something that came out actually a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago at this point, from Olivia Palermo Beauty. She's brought out a new eyeshadow palette called the Regalia palette. Now, I did do a poll on my Instagram and my YouTube community asking if you folks would like to see me do a review of this. The votes were generally in favor of me reviewing this. This is something I'm going to keep in mind for the future. I haven't ordered this palette. I just decided that it's not something that's really speaking to me, especially at this time of year. We're coming into spring. I'm a little bit more into kind of brighter colors, lighter colors, and this palette is very gem toned. It looks beautiful, but for me, it feels like more of a fall palette. So it's the kind of thing that I might just wait for a little bit of a sale. I'm not in a huge rush to try it out just right now. And the other reason I decided against it at this point is because there's another eyeshadow palette from the brand that at this stage, I'm actually more interested in the other palette. I have the Au Naturel palette, which I love. And then there's another one that came out at the same time as Au Naturel. I think it's the Soiree palette. And right now that actually is still a little bit more appealing to me. It's speaking to me a little bit more than the Regalia palette. So I just don't feel like the timing is right for me to get the Regalia palette at this point, but I really do appreciate anyone who participated in those polls, and it's something I'll be certainly keeping an eye on for the future to pick up and feature on my channel. And then the last thing for eyes is actually not a palette, it's a brow pencil. Wesley Italia has come out with a brow pencil. I think they've brought out 4 shades of it. For now, I've decided to skip on this. I'm pretty happy with a number of the brow products that I have. I like to try out different things, but the Wesley Italia brow pencil, although I imagine it's very good quality and I like the way it's designed with the pencil. And then there's a spoolie that I think twists into the back of the pencil. So I appreciate that design. I'm interested in it, but it's $50 Canadian and I just can't justify spending that on a brow pencil, at least not right now. There was just one complexion product I wanted to mention. Danessa Myricks has come out with a new foundation. It's called the Yummy Skin Foundation. And when I first saw that this was being released and read a little bit about it, it was intriguing to me at first. Then very quickly I discounted it and decided I wouldn't be getting it because I looked at the ingredients and it does have hyaluronic acid in it. So if you're not aware, hyaluronic acid really breaks out my skin. So I just don't buy products with that in it anymore. And now I've seen actually a couple of people talk about this foundation after having tried it, and it seems like it has a pretty strong fragrance and people aren't all that thrilled with it. So I don't feel like I'm really missing out too much by not trying this. I think she's also brought out a priming, kind of illuminating primer with this foundation in 2 different shades. I wasn't interested in that to begin with, so I won't be picking that up either. There are a couple of collections that I didn't want to put in any of these categories because they include a bunch of different types of products. The first one I wanted to mention is the Pat McGrath Bridgerton collection. This is like part 2 of Pat McGrath's collaboration with Bridgerton. Part 1 came out in January. Part 2 is coming out very soon. Took a look at the items in this collection. There's a blush palette or cheek palette. I think it has 3 different blushes and a highlighter shade in it. There's another 6-pan eyeshadow palette, which frankly looks very similar to the first 6-pan palette that came out as part of the first part of the Bridgerton collaboration. First one didn't interest me, this one doesn't interest me. I did see a beautiful demo on Pat McGrath's Instagram featuring mainly that sparkly blue-green minty kind of shade in this new palette, and that definitely caught my eye, but one shade is not enough for me to buy that palette. So I'm gonna be skipping on that. I'm gonna be skipping on the cheek palette. There are a number of new lipsticks that are coming out with this collaboration, and those did catch my eye. There are a couple of kind of nude, beigey, peachy, pinky shades that I would consider getting. And then there's also a loose illuminating powder. I think it's really meant for the body. This doesn't interest me at all. And I do like Bridgerton. I watched the first season. I'm sure I'll watch the second season that's coming out soon as well. Other collection that's coming out is there's a kind of updated or new Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk collection. Charlotte Tilbury's whole brand is really based on this Pillow Talk shade, the Pillow Talk line. She's been bringing out products in this line consistently throughout the years since she first brought out that Pillow Talk lip liner. It looks like this new collection has, I think, a new eye palette. It has a couple of highlighters, I think. I'm seeing images of those Beauty Light ones, which are those liquid cream blush light products. I'm not sure if these are new or not, because I know she did bring out a Pillow Talk shade of that formula a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure if these are new shades or just she's bringing back existing shades. She also appears to be bringing back those little cream blushes that came out as limited edition a couple of years ago. I had one of those and went through the whole thing. I really loved it, but it was one of the first really good cream blushes that I had ever tried, and it was kind of one of the only ones I had in my collection at that time. So at this point, I don't think it's worth me getting that again, because I now have so many more cream blushes in my collection and I love them, and I just don't feel that these would fill any sort of need in my collection. That was a good product in my opinion. And then the one thing in this collection that really has caught my eye, I apologize for the sound in the background. Hopefully it's not too distracting. I'm almost finished here. But the one thing that's caught my attention is the Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes Mascara in the shade Dream Pop. This looks like a burgundy toned mascara, which I'm very interested in, and I probably will get that. I like to try different colors of mascara, and I actually haven't tried this formula from Charlotte Tilbury. I know the Pillow Talk mascara has existed for a while, but I never tried it. And I would definitely be interested in trying it in this new shade. The very last thing that I just saw on an Instagram post from Sonia G is that there's a new Keyaki set coming out. At least that's what I understood from her post. A second Keyaki set, and if you don't know what the original Keyaki set was, a set of, I think, 5 brushes, maybe 6, 5 or 6 brushes that were for travel. So they had shorter handles, made for travel, and I love my Keyaki set. It came out not this past Christmas season, but the previous one. And a lot of those brushes I still use on an everyday basis. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, because I know that the quality of the first set was good. I would expect the quality of the second set to be. It will of course depend on what the brushes are. I'm at a stage now where I really don't need any more brushes, but if they look like they might fill some gaps in my collection or be especially useful to me, I do love Sonia G brushes. So I'll just keep an eye on that, but I'll need more information to make a decision on whether I'm going to buy that set or not. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think of all these new releases that are coming out. Let me know if you have any other questions or comments. I always love to see those. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would really love for you to do so. Thank you again so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.